Let me get into some personal experience being Asperger's. Back in 1990, I built my first computer and I jumped into RT, and that's when I got involved in video games. That's when video games really started coming out. For those that know the names Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem, whatever have you, those were all the games back then. And as an Asperger's, or on the spectrum with Asperger's, I actually got really addicted to video games, and I understand what it's all about. And let me tell you something, video games are one of the worst things you can let your autistic kid do. Because it's those constant cycles of reward and punishment. You win, you lose, you live, you die. And that has such an impact on the brain. You're constantly jumped up on cortisol, you're constantly jumped up on adrenaline, dopamine, the whole 9 yards, and it's just this constant cycle of chemicals going through your brain. I understand now that what the addiction did to me and what those video games did to me was actually adjust my behaviors. It was rewiring my brain in a way, in a sense. And it's doing the same to your kid. Especially with video games today, because they're so interactive. You get into these first-person shooters. I mean, you've again with the reward and punishment and whatnot, and then the torment that comes with it. You got people online speaking. This is not doing good for your kid's brain. What you really want your child to do is just calm the hell down. There's so much excitement. They're always jumped up on video games. They're always jumped up on all these chemicals in the brain. It's affecting their whole life, and they can't calm down. And then you're wondering why the child is stimming out. You're wondering why they're beating their head against the wall. What you want overall is calm, and that's what I learned to be was calm. It doesn't mean I can't get up and be an asshole once in a while. It doesn't mean I can't get excited, but overall, I learned to be calm. Calm, there's no emotions when it comes to calm. And emotions are what drive your behaviors. So start focusing on calm instead. Start getting rid of all the excitement and see if it makes a difference. I've known children that were up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning playing video games. The parents don't know. The kid is not sleeping. I was doing the same thing. I was up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning at 19 playing video games, and I go to bed and have freaking nightmares about doom. This is what it's doing to your kid's brain. Imagine your child in a calm state. We always talk about dogs. I always ask dog owners, what do you want from your dog? And number one answer is, I just want an overall calm dog that I can take anywhere. But yet we try to keep the dog amped up. Treats and reward and punishment and, toys and the whole 9 yards. Get rid of all that crap. It's no different for a dog. If you got a house full of toys and all this excitement and lick mats, and get rid of it all. Inside the house means calm. But no, all these dogs are jumped up and they're excited all day, and then they're wondering what they're trying to eat people coming in the frickin' door. It's no different for your kid. I had to swear off video games. I gamed for about a year, and I realized it was doing some serious impact on my behaviors and the way I treated people because I was constantly flooded with chemicals. And I always had a craving to get back to the game, so I had to get rid of them. I had to swear off of it. And I managed to stay away from video games for about 10 years. Then a friend of mine gave me an old Xbox he had with the game Call of Duty, and I got back into it. And it didn't take long to get that immediate addiction again. And I started doing the same thing, and I started playing the game, and it was those constant rewards and punishment. You live, you die, you win, you lose. Reward and punishment. And again, my brain is starting to get flooded with all these chemicals, hormone, or cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, the whole 9 yards. And again, it started to affect me. I had to get rid of it, and I haven't played games since. Okay? There was one time since I was 19 years old. Now I'm 54, so it's been over 40 years, over 30 years since I've really played games, and I can't do it anymore. People, stop and think about what games are doing to your kid's brain. You want calm. Start focusing on calm. That's the reality. Okay, I'm going to do another video with, explaining how I managed to get myself into a calm state and understand myself, and that's another big problem today. Most autistic people do not understand themselves. They don't understand their own brain. They've never been given that calm state to figure themselves out. Have a good day.